Reb Berurach, Sword of the Spirit, narrated and interpreted by Wendy. Daniel. Chapter 1. In the 3rd year of the reign of Yehoiakim, king of Yehuda, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babel, came to Jerusalem and besieged it. And Adonai gave Yehoiakim, king of Yehuda, into his hand, with part of the vessels of the house of Elohim, which he carried into the land of Shinar, to the house of his deity. And he brought the vessels into the treasure house of his deity. And the king spoke to Ashpenaz, the master of his eunuchs, that he should bring some of the children of Yeshariel, and of the king's seed, and of the princes, children in whom was no blemish, but well favored, and skillful in all wisdom, and skilled in knowledge, and understanding science, and those who had the ability in them to stand in the king's palace, and whom they might teach the learning and the tongue of the Kashtim. And the king appointed them a daily provision of the king's food, and wine that he drank, to nourish them for 3 years, so that at the end of it they would stand before the king. Now among these were children of Yehuda, Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azar-Yehu, unto whom the captain of the eunuchs gave names. For he gave to Daniel the name of Belteshazzar, and to Hananiah Shadrach, and to Mishael Meshach, and to Azar-Yehu Abednego. But Daniel proposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with the portion of the king's food, nor with the wine that he drank. Therefore he requested from the captain of the eunuchs that he might not be defiled. Now Elohim had brought Daniel into favor and compassion with the captain of the eunuchs. And the captain of the eunuchs said to Daniel, I fear my lord the king, who has appointed your food and your drink. For why should he see your faces worse than the likeness of the children who are of your kind? Then you will cause me to endanger my own head to the king. Therefore Daniel said to Melzar, whom the captain of the eunuchs had set over Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azar-Yehu, I beseech you, test your servants for 10 days, and let them give us seed to eat, and water to drink. Then let our countenance be looked upon before you, and the countenance of the children who eat the portion of the king's food. Then deal with your servants as you see fit. Therefore, concerning this matter, he consented to them and tested them for 10 days. Then, at the end of 10 days, their countenance appeared fairer and fatter in flesh than all the children who ate a portion from the king's food. Therefore Melzar took away the portion of the food and wine that they would have drank, and gave them seed. As for these 4 children, Elohim gave them knowledge and skill in all learning and wisdom. Also Daniel had understanding in all visions and dreams. Now at the end of the days that the king had, he said, Bring them in. So the captain of the eunuch brought them in before Nebuchadnezzar. And the king communed with them, and among all of them no one was found like Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azar-Yehu. Therefore they stood before the king. And in all matters of wisdom and understanding that the king inquired of them, he found them 10 times better than all the magicians and astrologers who were in his entire realm. Also Daniel continued until the 1st year of King Koresh. Chapter 2. And in the 2nd year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar dreamed dreams, of which his spirit was troubled, and his sleep broke from him. Then the king commanded to all the magicians, and the astrologers, and the sorcerers, and the Kashtim, to show the king his dreams. So they came and stood before the king. And the king said to them, I have dreamed a dream, and my spirit is troubled to know the dream. So the Kashdim spoke to the king in Syriac, O king, live forever. Tell your servants the dream. Then we will show the interpretation. The king answered and said to the Kashdim, The dream has gone from me. If you will not make the dream with its interpretation known to me, you will be cut in pieces, and your houses will be made a dunghill. But if you show the dream and its interpretation, you will receive gifts and rewards and great honor from me. Therefore, show me the dream and its interpretation. They answered the request and said, Let the king tell his servants the dream, then we will show its interpretation. Therefore the king answered and said, Surely I know that you would gain time, because you see that my decision is firm. But if you will not make the dream known to me, there is only one decree for you will prepare lying and corrupt words to speak before me until the time is changed. Therefore, tell me the dream. Then I will know that you can show me its interpretation. The Kashdim answered before the king and said, There is not a man upon the earth who can show the king's matter. Therefore, there is no king, lord, nor ruler who would ask such things from any magician or astrologer or Kashdi. Also, what the king requires is a rare thing, and there is no one else who can show it before the king except the deities, who do not dwell with flesh. For this reason, the king was angry and very furious. So he commanded to destroy all the wise men of Babel. And the decree went forth so that the wise men would be slain, and they sought Daniel and his fellows to be slain. Then Daniel answered with counsel and wisdom to Ariuk, the captain of the king's guard, who went to slay the wise men of Babel. He answered and said to Ariuk, the king's captain, Why is the decree so hasty from the king? Therefore Ariuk made the thing known to Daniel. Therefore Daniel went in and desired of the king that he would give him time. Then he would show the king the interpretation. Furthermore, Daniel went to his house and made the thing known to his companions, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azaryehu, so that they would desire mercy from the Elohim of the heavens concerning this secret, that Daniel and his fellows would not perish with the rest of the wise men of Babel. Then the secret was revealed to Daniel in a night vision. Therefore Daniel blessed the Elohim of the heavens. Daniel answered and said, Blessed is the name of Elohim forever and ever. For wisdom and might are his. Also, he changes the times and the seasons. He removes kings and sets up kings. He gives wisdom to the wise and knowledge to those who have understanding. He reveals the deep and secret things. He knows what is in the darkness, and the light dwells with him. I thank you and praise you, O Elohim of my fathers, who has given me wisdom and might, and now have made known to me what we desire of you. For now you have made the king's matter known to us. Furthermore, Daniel went in to Ariuk, whom the king had ordained to destroy the wise men of Babel. He went and said this to him, Do not destroy the wise men of Babel. Bring me in before the king, and I will show the interpretation to the king. Therefore Ariuk brought in Daniel before the king in haste, and said thus to him, I have found a man of the captives of Yehuda, who will make the interpretation known to the king. The king answered and said to Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar, Are you able to make the dream which I have seen and its interpretation known to me? Daniel answered in the presence of the king and said, "The secret which the king has demanded of the wise men, the astrologers, the magicians, the soothsayers, cannot be shown to the king. But there is an Elohim in the heavens who reveals secrets and makes known to the king Nebuchadnezzar what will be in the latter days. Your dream and the visions of your head upon your bed are these. As for you, O king, your thoughts came into your mind upon your bed are what will come to pass after this, and he who reveals secrets makes known to you what will come to pass. But as for me, this secret is not revealed to me from any wisdom that I have more than anyone else living, but for the purpose that the interpretation is made known to the king, and that you might know the thoughts of your heart. You, O king, saw and beheld a great image. This great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before you, and its form was terrible. This statue's head was of fine gold. His breast and arms were silver. His belly and thighs were copper. His legs were iron. His feet were part iron and part clay. You saw it until a stone that was cut without hands struck the image upon its feet, which were iron and clay, and broke them to pieces. Then the iron, the clay, the copper, the silver, and the gold were broken into pieces together, and became like the chaff of the summer threshing floor, and the wind carried them away, such that no place was found for them. Moreover, the stone that struck the image became a great mountain, and filled the whole earth. This is the dream, and we will tell its interpretation before the king. O king, you are a king of kings, for the Elohim of the heavens has given you a kingdom, power, and strength, and glory. And wherever the children of men dwell, he has given the beasts of the field and the fowls of the heavens into your hand, and has made you ruler over them all. You are this golden head. Then, after you, another kingdom will rise up inferior to you. Also, another third kingdom of copper that will bear rule over the entire earth. And the fourth kingdom will be as strong as iron. For as much as iron breaks in pieces and subdues all things, just as iron breaks all things, so too it will be broken into pieces and bruised. And just as you saw the feet and toes, part potter's clay and part iron, the kingdom will be divided, but in it there will be the strength of iron, just as you saw the iron mixed with miry clay. And like the toes of the feet were part iron and part clay, so too the kingdom will be part strong and part broken. And like you saw the iron mixed with muddy clay, they will be mingled together with the seed of men, but they will not cleave one to another, even like iron does not mix with clay. And during the days of these kings, the Elohim of the heavens will set up a kingdom that will not be destroyed, and the kingdom will not be left to other people, but it will break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it will stand forever. For as much as you saw that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that it broke the iron, the copper, the clay, the silver, and the gold in pieces, the great Elohim has made known to the king what will come to pass hereafter, and the dream is certain, and its interpretation is certain. Then the king Nebuchadnezzar fell upon his face and worshipped Daniel, and commanded that they will offer an oblation and sweet scent to him. The king answered to Daniel and said, "This is true, that your Elohim is the deity of deities, and a lord of kings, and a revealer of secrets, seeing that you could reveal this secret." Then the king made Daniel a great man, and gave him many great gifts, and made him ruler over the whole province of Babel, and chief of the governors over all the wise men of Babel. Then Daniel requested of the king, and he set Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego over the affairs of the province of Babel. However, Daniel sat in the gate of the king. Chapter 3. Nebuchadnezzar, the king, made a golden image. Its height was 60 cubits, and its width was 6 cubits. He set it up in the plain of Dura, in the province of Babel. Then Nebuchadnezzar, the king, sent together the rulers, the governors, and the princes, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the province together to come to the dedication of the image that Nebuchadnezzar, the king, had set up. Therefore, the rulers, the governors, the princes, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the provinces gathered together for the dedication of the image that Nebuchadnezzar, the king, had set up. And they stood before the image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Then a herald cried aloud, O people, nations, and tongues, it is commanded of you that at the time that you hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, dulcimer, and all kinds of music, you will fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar, the king, has set up. And whoever does not fall down and worship will be cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace that same hour. Therefore, at that time, when all the people heard the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and all kinds of music, all the people, the nations, and the languages fell down and worshipped the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar, the king, had set up. This is why some Kashdim came near at that time and accused the Yehudim. They spoke and said to the king Nebuchadnezzar, O king, live forever. You, O king, have made a decree that every man who hears the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music will fall down and worship the golden image. And whoever does not fall down and worship it, he will be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. There are certain Yehudim whom you have set over the affairs of the province of Babel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, do not regard you. They do not serve your deities nor worship the golden image that you have set up. Therefore, in his rage and fury, Nebuchadnezzar commanded to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So they brought these men before the king. Nebuchadnezzar spoke and said to them, Is it true, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? You will not serve my deities, nor worship the golden image that I have set up? Now, if you are ready, that you fall down and worship the image that I have made during the time that you hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music. It is well. But if you do not worship, you will be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace that same hour. And who is the deity that will deliver you out of my hands? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not cautious to answer you in this matter. If it is so, our Elohim, who we serve, is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of your hand, O king. But if not, let it be known to you, O king, that we will not serve your deities, nor worship the golden image that you have set up. Then Nebuchadnezzar was full of fury, and the form of his visage was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Therefore he spoke and commanded that they heat up the furnace 7 times more than it was known to be heated. And he commanded the most mighty men who were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and to cast them into the burning fiery furnace. Then these men were bound in their coats, their trousers, and their hats, and their garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Therefore, because the king's commandment was urgent, and the furnace was extremely hot, the flame of the fire killed those men who took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And these 3 bound men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Then Nebuchadnezzar, the king, was astonished, and rose up in haste, and spoke, and said to his counselors, Did we not cast 3 bound men into the fire? They answered and said to the king, True, O king. Then he answered and said, Look, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they are not injured, and the form of the 4th is like the son of Elohim. Then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace, and spoke and said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, you servants of the Most High Elohim, come forth and come here. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came out of the midst of the fire. And the rulers, governors, and princes, and the king's counselors who were gathered saw these men, upon whose bodies the fire had no power, nor was the hair of their head singed, nor was their coats changed, nor did the smell of fire pass over them. Then Nebuchadnezzar spoke and said, Blessed is the Elohim of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who has sent his angel and delivered his servants who trusted in him, and have changed the king's word, and yielded their bodies, so that they might not serve nor worship any Elohim except their own Elohim. Therefore I make a decree that every people group, nation, and language who speak anything amiss against the Elohim of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego be cut into pieces, and their houses be made a dunghill, because there is no other deity who can deliver like this. Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babel. Chapter 4. Nebuchadnezzar the king, unto all the people, nations, and languages who dwell in all the earth, peace be multiplied to you. I thought it would be good to show the signs and wonders that the high Elohim has done for me. How great are these signs, and how mighty are these wonders! This kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and this dominion is from generation to generation. I, Nebuchadnezzar, was at rest in my house, and flourishing in my palace. I saw a dream that made me afraid, and the thoughts upon my bed and visions of my head troubled me. Therefore I made a decree to bring in all the wise men of Babel before me, so that they might make the interpretation of a dream known to me. Then the magicians, the astrologers, the Kashdim, and the soothsayers came in, and I told the dream before them, but they did not make its interpretation known to me. And at the end Daniel came in before me, whose name is Belteshazzar, according to the name of my deity. However, in him is the Ruach Kodesh of Elohim, and I told the dream before him, saying, O Belteshazzar, master of the magicians, because I know that the Ruach Kodesh of Elohim is in you, and no secret troubles you, tell me the visions of my dream that I have seen, and its interpretation. These are the visions that were of my head in my dream. I saw, and behold, a tree was in the midst of the earth, and the height of it was great. The tree grew and was strong, and its height reached to the heavens, and it was visible to the end of the earth. Its leaves were fair, and its fruit was abundant, and in it was food for all. Under it the beasts of the field had shade, and the birds of the heavens lived in its limbs, and all flesh ate from it. In the visions of my head upon my bed, I saw and beheld a city and a holy one coming down from the heavens. He cried aloud and said this, "Cut down the tree and cut off his branches, shake off his leaves and scatter his fruit. Let the beasts get away from under it, also the birds from his branches. Nevertheless, leave the stump of his roots in the earth, even with a troop of iron and copper, in the tender grass of the field, and let it be wet with the dew of the heavens. Therefore, let his portion be with the beasts of the grass of the earth. Let his heart be changed from man's, and let beast's heart be given to him, and let 7 times pass over him. This matter is by the decree of the awakened one, and the demand by the word of the holy ones, for the intent that the living may know that the Most High rules in the kingdom of men, and gives it to whomever he will, and sets it up over the lowest of men. This dream I, Nebuchadnezzar, has seen. Now you, O Belteshazzar, declare its interpretation, because all the similar wise men of my kingdom are not able to make the interpretation known to me. But you are able, for the Ruach Kodesh of Elohim is in you." Then Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar, was stunned for an hour, and his thoughts troubled him. The king spoke and said, "Belteshazzar, do not let the dream nor its interpretation trouble you." Belteshazzar answered and said, "My lord, the dream is for those who hate you, and its interpretation is for your enemies. The tree that you saw, which grew and was strong, whose height reached to the heavens, and it was visible to the entire earth, whose leaves were fair, and its fruit was abundant, and in it was food for everything, under which the beasts of the field dwelt, and upon whose branches the birds of the heavens had their habitation. It is you, O king, who has grown and become strong, for your greatness has grown and reaches to the heavens, and your dominion is to the ends of the earth." And where the king saw a city and a holy one coming down from the heavens, and saying, "Cut the tree down and destroy it, but leave its stump rooted in the earth, even with a troop of iron and copper, in the tender grass of the field, and let it be wet with the dew of the heavens, and let its portion be with the beasts of the field, until 7 times pass over him." This is the interpretation, O king, and this is the decree of the Most High, that has come upon my lord the king, that they will drive you from men, and your dwelling will be with the beasts of the field, and they will make you to eat grass like oxen, and they will wet you with the dew of the heavens, and 7 times will pass over you, until you know that the Most High rules in the kingdom of men, and gives it to whomever he will. And because they have commanded to leave the stump of the tree roots, your kingdom will be secured to you after you know that the heavens rule. Therefore, O king, let my counsel be acceptable to you, and break off your sins with righteousness, and your iniquities by showing mercy to the poor. Perhaps it might lengthen your tranquility. All this came upon King Nebuchadnezzar. At the end of 12 months, he walked in the palace of the king of Babel. The king spoke and said, "Is this not great Babel, that I have built for the house of the kingdom by the might of my power, and for the honor of my majesty?" While the word was in the king's mouth, a voice fell there from the heavens, saying, "O King Nebuchadnezzar, to you it is spoken, the kingdom will depart from you, and they will drive you from men, and your dwelling will be with the beasts of the field. They will make you to eat grass like oxen, and 7 times will pass over you, until you know that the Most High rules in the kingdom of men, and gives it to whomever he will. At that same hour the thing was fulfilled upon Nebuchadnezzar, and he was driven from men, and ate grass like oxen, and his body was wet with the dew from the heavens, until his hair had grown like eagle's feathers, and his nails like bird claws. And at the end of the days, I, Nebuchadnezzar, lifted up my eyes to the heavens, and my understanding returned to me, and I endowed the Most High. Also, I praised and honored him whom lives forever, whose dominion is an everlasting dominion, and his kingdom is from generation to generation. And all the inhabitants of the earth are considered as nothing, and he does according to his will in the host of the heavens, and among the inhabitants of the earth, and no one can stop his hand and say to him, "What are you doing?" At that same time my logic returned to me, and for the glory of my kingdom my honor and brightness returned to me. Also my counselors and my lords sought for me, and I was established in my kingdom, and excellent majesty was added to me. Now I, Nebuchadnezzar, praise and extol and honor the King of the heavens, all whose works are true, and his ways are just. Furthermore, he is able to lower those who walk with pride. Chapter 5. Belshazzar the king made a great feast for 1,000 of his lords, and drank wine before the 1,000. While he tasted the wine, Belshazzar commanded to bring the golden and silver vessels, which his father Nebuchadnezzar had taken out of the temple that was in Jerusalem, so that the king and his princes, his wives, and his concubines might drink from it. Then they brought the golden vessels that were taken out of the temple of the house of Elohim that was at Jerusalem. Then the king and his princes, his wives, and his concubines drank from them. They drank wine and praised deities of gold and of silver and of copper, of iron, of wood, and of stone. During that same hour, fingers of a man's hand came forth and wrote upon the plaster wall of the king's palace, opposite the menorah, and the king saw part of the hand that wrote. Then the king's countenance changed, and his thoughts troubled him, such that the joints of his loins were loosened, and his knees struck one against another. The king cried aloud to bring in the astrologers, the kashdim, and the soothsayers. And the king spoke and said to the wise men of Babel, "Whoever will read this writing and show me its interpretation will be clothed with scarlet, and have a gold chain around his neck, and will become the 3rd ruler in the kingdom." Then all the king's wise men came in, but they could not read the writing, nor make its interpretation known to the king. Therefore King Belshazzar was greatly troubled, and his countenance changed within him, and his lords were astonished. Now the queen, by reason of the word of the king and his lords, came into the banquet house. And the queen spoke and said, "O king, live forever. Do not let your thoughts trouble you, nor let your countenance be changed. There is a man in your kingdom, in whom is the Ruach Kodesh of Elohim. And during the days of your father was light and understanding and wisdom. A wisdom similar to the deities was found in him, whom King Nebuchadnezzar, your father, made master of the magicians, astrologers, kashdim, and soothsayers. For as much like an excellent spirit, and knowledge and understanding, interpreting of dreams, and showing of hard sentences, and dissolving of doubts, were found in the same Daniel. Now let Daniel be called, and he will show the interpretation. Therefore Daniel was brought in before the king, And the king spoke and said to Daniel, Are you the Daniel who are of the children of the captives of Yehuda, who the king my father brought out from Yehud? Also, I have heard of you that the Ruach of Elohim is in you, because light and understanding and excellent wisdom is found in you. And now the wise men, the astrologers, have been brought in before me, so that they will read this writing and make its interpretation known to me, but they could not show its interpretation. But I have heard of you, that you can make interpretations and dissolve doubts. Now, if you can read the writing and make its interpretation known to me, you will be clothed with scarlet and have a gold chain around your neck, and will be the third ruler in the kingdom. Then Daniel answered the king and said, Let your gifts be for yourself, and give your reward to another. Yet I will read the writing to the king, and make its interpretation known to him. O you king, the Most High Elohim gave Nebuchadnezzar your father a kingdom, and majesty, and glory, and honor. And for the majesty that he gave him, all people, nations, and languages trembled and feared before him. Whoever he wants, he kills, and whoever he wants, he keeps alive, and whoever he wants, he sets up, and whoever he wants, he pulls down. However, when his heart was lifted up and his mind hardened in pride, he was disposed from his kingly throne, and they took his glory from him, and he was driven from the sons of men, and his heart was made like the beasts, and his dwelling was with the wild asses. They fed him with grass like oxen, and his body was wet with the dew of the heavens, until he made the Most High Elohim ruled in the kingdom of men, and that he appoints whoever he wants over it. But you, his son, O Belshazzar, have not humbled your heart, even though you know all this. Rather, you have lifted up yourself against the Lord of the heavens, and have brought the vessels of his house before you. Moreover, you and your lords, your wives, and your concubines have drunk wine in them, and have praised the deities of silver and gold, of copper, iron, wood, and stone, who do not see, nor hear, nor know. But the Elohim in whose hand is your life and all your ways, you have not glorified. Furthermore, a part of the hand was sent from him, and this writing was written. And this is the writing that was written, Mene, Mene, Tekel, and Peresun. This is the interpretation of the thing. Mene, Elohim has numbered your kingdom and finished it. Tekel, you are weighed in the balances and are found wanting. Paraz, your kingdom is divided and given to the Madai and Persia. Then Belshazzar commanded, and they clothed Daniel with scarlet, and put a golden chain around his neck, and made a proclamation concerning him, that he will be the third ruler in the kingdom. During that night, Belshazzar, the king of Kashdim, was slain, and Dariush of Madai, being about 32 years old, took the kingdom. Chapter 6. It pleased Dariush to set 120 princes over the kingdom, who would be over the entire kingdom. And over them were 3 presidents, of whom Daniel was first, so that the princes would give accounts to them, and the king would not be bothered. Also, this Daniel was preferred above the presidents and princes, because an excellent spirit was in him, and the king considered setting him over the entire realm. So the presidents and princes sought to find occasion against Daniel concerning the kingdom. But they could not find any occasion nor fault. Because of how loyal he was, no error nor fault was found in him. Therefore these men said, We will not find any occasion against this Daniel, unless we find it against him concerning the law of his Elohim. Then these presidents and princes assembled together to the king and said this to him: King Darius, live forever. All the presidents of the kingdom, the governors, and the princes, the counselors, and the rulers have consulted together to establish a royal statute and to make a firm decree that whoever will ask a petition of any Elohim or man except you for 30 days, O king, he will be cast into the den of lions. Now, O king, establish the decree and sign the writing, so that it will not be changed. According to the law of Madai and Persia, it will not be altered. For this, King Darius signed the writing and the decree. Now when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went into his house, and his windows were opened in his chamber toward Jerusalem. He knelt upon his knees 3 times a day, and prayed, and gave thanks before his Elohim, like he did previously. Then these men assembled and found Daniel praying and making supplication before his Elohim. So they came near and spoke before the king concerning the king's decree. Have you not signed a decree that every man who will ask a petition of any deity or man except you, O king, for 30 days will be cast into the den of lions? The king answered and said, This thing is true, according to the law of Madai and Persia, which cannot be altered. Then they answered and said before the king, Daniel, who is of the children of the captives of Yehuda, does not regard you, O king, nor the decree that you have signed, but makes his petitions 3 times a day. Then the king was very displeased with himself when he heard these words, and set his heart upon Daniel to deliver him, and he labored until sunset to deliver him. So these men assembled to the king and said to the king, Know, O king, that the law of the Madai and Persia is that no decree nor statute which the king establishes may be changed. Therefore the king commanded, and they brought Daniel and cast him into the den of lions. Now the king spoke and said to Daniel, Your Elohim, whom you serve continually, he will deliver you. And a stone was brought and laid upon the mouth of the den. And the king sealed it with his own signet and with the signet of his lords, so that the purpose might not be changed concerning Daniel. Then the king went to his palace and passed the night fasting. Musical instruments were not brought before him, and his sleep went from him. Then the king arose very early in the morning, and in haste he went to the den of lions. And when he came to the den, he cried with a mournful voice to Daniel. Then the king spoke and said to Daniel, O Daniel, servant of the living Elohim, was your Elohim, whom you serve continually, able to deliver you from the lions? Then Daniel said to the king, O king, live forever. My Elohim has sent his angel and has shut the lion's mouth, so that they have not hurt me, all because before him innocence was found in me. Also before you, O king, I have done no harm. Then the king was very glad for him, and commanded that they take Daniel up out of the den. So Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no type of injury was found upon him, because he believed in his Elohim. Furthermore, the king commanded, and they brought those men who had accused Daniel, and they cast them into the den of lions, at the bottom of the den, them, their children, and their wives. And the lions overpowered them, and broke all their bones in pieces. Then King Darius wrote to all people, nations, and languages, who dwelled in all the earth, Peace be multiplied unto you. I make a decree that in every dominion of my kingdom men tremble and fear before the Elohim of Daniel, for he is the living Elohim, and endures forever. Also, his kingdom is that which will not be destroyed, and his dominion will even be until the end. He delivers and rescues, and he works signs and wonders in all the heavens and in earth, who has delivered Daniel from the power of the lions. Therefore, this Daniel prospered in the reign of Darius and in the reign of Koresh the Persian. Chapter 7. During the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babel, Daniel had a dream and visions with his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matters. Daniel spoke and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of the heavens strove upon the great sea. And four great beasts came up from the sea, different from one another. The first was like a lion, and had eagle's wings. I beheld until its wings were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and was made to stand upon feet like a man, and a man's heart was given to it. And behold, another beast. The second was similar to a bear, and it raised itself up on one side, and it had 3 ribs in its mouth between its teeth. And they said this to it, Arise, devour much flesh. After this I beheld, and saw another like a leopard, which had 4 wings of a fowl upon its back. Also the beast had 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. And after this I saw in the night's visions, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible, and very strong, and it had great iron teeth that devoured and broke in pieces, and stamped the remains with its feet. Also, it was different from all the beasts who were before it, and it had 10 horns. I considered the horns, and behold, another little horn came up among them, before which 3 of the first horns were plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn there were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth that spoke great things. And I beheld until the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days sat, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head was like pure wool. His throne was like a fiery flame, and his wheels were like burning fire. A fiery stream issued and came out from before him. Thousands of thousands ministered to him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were opened. Then I beheld because of the voice of the great words that the horn spoke. I beheld even until the beast was slain, and his body was destroyed, and given to the burning flame. Concerning the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion taken away, yet their lives were prolonged for a season and time. I saw in the night visions, and saw one like the Son of Man coming with the clouds of the heavens, and coming to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. Then dominion and glory and a kingdom was given to him, so that all people, nations, and tongues, and languages would serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion that will not pass away, and his kingdom is that which will not be destroyed. I, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit in the midst of my body. Also, the visions of my head troubled me. I came near to one of those who stood by, and asked him the truth of all this. Therefore he told me, and he made me know its interpretation. These great beasts, which are 4 kings who will rise out of the earth. However, the saints of the Most High will take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. Then I knew the truth about the 4th beast that was different from all the others, very dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of copper, who devoured, broke in pieces, and stamped the remains with his feet. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other that came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of the horn that had eyes, and a mouth that spoke very great things, whose appearance was more robust than his fellows. I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints, and prevailed against them, until the Ancient of Days came, and justice was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. Thus he said, the 4th beast will be the 4th kingdom upon the earth, which will be different from all kingdoms, and will devour the whole earth, and break it in pieces, and tread it down. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings who will arise, and another will arise after them, and he will be different from the first. And he will subdue 3 kings, and he will speak great words against the Most High, and will wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. And they will be given into his hand until a time and times and a divided time. But the judgment will sit, and they will take away his dominion, to consume and destroy until the end. And the kingdom and dominion, and the greatness of the kingdom under the entire heavens will be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom. Also, all dominions will serve and obey him until the end of the matter. As for me, Daniel, my thoughts troubled me greatly, and my brightness changed in me, and I kept the word in my heart. Chapter 8. In the 3rd year of the reign of King Belshazzar, a vision appeared to me, even to me, Daniel, after the first one that appeared to me. And I saw a vision, and it came to pass when I saw that I was at Shushan, in the palace, which is in the province of Elam. And I saw in a vision, and I was by the river of Ulai. Then I lifted up my eyes and saw, and behold, a ram stood there before the river that had 2 horns, and the 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the highest came up last. I saw the ram pushing westward, and northward, and southward, so that no beast might stand before him, nor was there any who could deliver out of his hand. But he did according to his will, and became great. And as I was thinking, behold, a he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth, and did not touch the ground. And the goat had a notable horn between his eyes. And he came to the ram that had 2 horns, which I had seen standing before the river, and ran to him in the fury of his power. And I saw him come close to the ram, and he was moved with rage against him, and struck the ram, and broke his 2 horns, and there was no power in the ram to stand before him. But he cast him down to the ground, and stomped upon him, and there was no one who could deliver the ram out of his hand. Therefore the he-goat became very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken. And from it 4 notable ones came up toward the 4 winds of the heavens. And out of one of them a little horn came out that became very great, toward the south, and toward the east, and toward the pleasant land. And it became great even to the host of the heavens, and it cast down some of the host of the stars to the ground, and stomped upon them. Yes, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifice was taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down, and a host was given to him against the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression, and it cast down the truth to the ground. Also it performed and was successful. Then I heard a saint speaking, and another saint said to that certain saint who spoke, "How long will the vision concerning the daily sacrifice and the transgressions of desolation be, to give both the sanctuary and the host to be trodden under foot?" And he said to me, "Until 2,300 days. Then the sanctuary will be cleansed." And it came to pass when I, Even I, Daniel, had seen the vision and sought for the meaning. Then, behold, there was an appearance of a man before me. And I heard the voice of an Adam between Ulai, who called and said, Gabriel, make this man to understand the vision. So he came near where I stood. But when he came, I was afraid and fell upon my face. But he said to me, Understand, O son of Adam, for the vision will be during the time of the end. Now, as he was speaking to me, I was in a deep sleep with my face toward the ground. But he touched me and set me upright. And he said, Behold, I will make you know what will happen during the latter end of the indignation, for the end will be at an appointed time. The ram which you saw, having 2 horns, are the kings of Madai and Persia. And the rough goat is the king of Yahwan. And the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king. Then, it being broken, therefore 4 stood up for it. The 4 kingdoms will stand up out of the nation, but not with his power. Therefore, during the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressions have come to fulfillment, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences will stand up, and his power will be mighty, but not by his own power. Also, he will destroy wonderfully, and will prosper and practice, and will destroy the mighty and holy people. Also, by his policy, he will cause deceit to prosper in his hand, and he will magnify himself in his heart, and by peace he will destroy many. Also, he will stand up against the prince of princes, but he will be broken without a hand. And the vision of the evening and the morning which was told is true. Therefore, shut up the vision, for it will be for many days. Moreover, I, Daniel, fainted and was sick a few days. Afterward, I rose up and did the king's business. Furthermore, I was astonished by the vision, and no one understood it. Chapter 9. During the first year of Darius, the son of Ahasuerus, of the seed of Madai, who was made king over the realm of the Kashdim, I, Daniel, understood the number of years by suppers, when the word of Yahweh came to Jeremiah the prophet, to accomplish 70 years in the desolations of Jerusalem. And I set my face unto Yahweh Elohim, to set my prayer and supplications with fasting and sackcloth and ashes. And I prayed unto Yahweh my Elohim, and made my confession, and said, O Lord, the great and fearsome all, keeping the covenant and mercy to those who love him, and to those who keep his commandments. We have sinned, and have committed iniquity, and have done wickedly, and have rebelled, even by departing from your precepts and from your judgments. Nor have we hearkened to your servants the prophets, who spoke in your name to our kings, our princes, and our fathers, and to all the people from the land. O Adonai, righteousness belongs to you, but confused faces to us, like this day, to the men of Yehudah, and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and to all Yisrael who are near and who are far off, through all the countries where ye have driven them, because of their trespass that they have trespassed against you. O Adonai, confused faces belong to us, to our kings, to our princes, to our fathers, because we have sinned against you. Mercy and forgiveness belongs to Adonai, our Elohim, although we have rebelled against him. We have not obeyed the voice of Yahweh, our Elohim, to walk in the laws that he set before us by his servants, the prophets. Yes, all Yisrael has transgressed your teaching, even by departing, so that they might not obey your voice. Therefore the curse is poured upon us, and the oath that is written in the teaching of Musha, the servant of Elohim, because we have sinned against him. And he has confirmed his words, and he has spoken unto us, and against our judges who judge us, by bringing a great evil upon us. For under the whole heavens it has not been done like it has been done unto Jerusalem. As it is written in the teaching of Moshe, all this evil has come upon us, yet we have not made our prayer before Yahweh our Elohim, so that we might turn from our iniquities and understand your truth. Therefore Yahweh has watched upon the evil and brought it upon us. For Yahweh is righteous in all his works that he does, for we do not obey his voice. And now, O Adonai our Elohim, who has brought your people out from the land of Mitzrayim with a mighty hand, and have gotten your fame, like this day, we have sinned, we have done wickedly. O Adonai, according to your righteousness, I beseech you, let your anger and your fury be turned away from your city, Jerusalem, your holy mountain, because of our sin and for the iniquities of our fathers, Jerusalem, and your people have become a reproach to all who are around us. Now therefore, O our Elohim, hear the prayer of your servant and his supplications, and cause your face to shine upon your sanctuary, which is desolate, for the sake of Adonai. O my Elohim, incline your ear and hear, open your eyes, and behold our desolations, and the city that is called by your name. For we do not present our supplications before you for our righteousness, but for your great mercies. O Adonai, hear. O Adonai, forgive. O Adonai, hearken and do. For your own sake, do not defer. O my Aluah, for your city and your people are called by your name. And while I was speaking and praying and confessing my sin, also the sin of my people Yisrael, presenting my supplication before Yahweh my Elohim, for the holy mountain of my Elohim. Indeed, while I was speaking in prayer, even the man Gabriel, whom I had seen in the vision at the beginning, was caused to fly swiftly, touching me around the time of the evening oblation. And he informed me and talked to me and said, Now I have come forth to give you skill and understanding. Since the beginning of your supplications, the commandment came forth. Therefore I have come to show you, for you are greatly beloved. Therefore understand the matter and consider the vision. 70 weeks are determined upon your people and upon your holy city to finish the transgression and to make an end of sins and to make reconciliation for iniquity and to bring an everlasting righteousness and to seal up the vision and prophecy and to anoint the Holy of the Holies. Therefore, know and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem until the Messiah, the Prince, will be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. The street will be built again, and the wall, even during troubling times. And after 62 weeks, the Mashiach will be cut off, but not for himself. Then the people of the ruler who will come will destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end of it will be with a flood. And desolations are determined until the end of the war. And he will confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. And in the middle of the week, he will cause the sacrifice of oblation to end. And he will make desolation on the wing of abomination, even until the consummation. And that which is determined is poured upon the desolate one. Chapter 10. During the 3rd year of Koresh, king of Persia, something was revealed to Daniel, whose name was called Belteshazzar, but the appointed time was long. Also he understood the word and had understanding of the vision. During those days I, Daniel, was mourning for 3 full weeks. I ate no pleasant bread, nor did flesh nor wine come into my mouth, nor did I anoint myself at all, until 3 entire weeks were fulfilled. Then, during the 24th day of the first month, as I was beside the great river, which is Hiddekel, then I lifted up my eyes and looked, and saw a certain man clothed in linen, whose loins were girded with the fine gold of Albaz. Also his body was like beryl, and his face had the appearance of lightning, and his eyes were like lamps of fire. Moreover, his arms and his feet were similar to polished copper in color, and the voice of his words were like the voice of a multitude. And only I, Daniel, saw the vision, for the men who were with me did not see the vision, but a great quaking fell upon them, so that they fled to hide themselves. Therefore I was left alone, and saw a great vision. However, there was no strength left in me, and the comeliness within me was turned into corruption, and I retained no strength. Yet I heard the voice of his words, and when I heard the voice of his words, then I was in a deep sleep on my face, and my face was turned toward the ground. And behold, a hand touched me, which set me upon my knees, and upon the palms of my hands. And he said to me, O Daniel, a man greatly beloved, understand the words that I speak to you, and stand upright. For now I am sent unto you. And when he had spoken this word to me, I stood trembling. Then he said to me, Fear not, Daniel, for from the first day that you set your heart to understand, and to chasten yourself before your Elohim, your words were heard, and I have come because of your words. However, the captain of the kingdom of Persia withstood me for 21 days. But lo, Michal, one of the chief princes, came to help me, and I remained there with the king of Persia. Now I have come to make you understand what will befall your people in the latter days. Still yet, the vision is for many days. And when he spoke such words to me, I set my face toward the ground, and I became speechless. And behold, one similar to the sons of man touched my lips. Then I opened my mouth and spoke, and said to him who stood before me, O my Lord, by the vision my sorrows have returned to me, and I retain no strength. For how can the servant of this my Lord talk with this my Lord? Because as for me, straightway there remained no strength in me, nor is there breath left in me. Again, one like the appearance of an Adam touched me, and he strengthened me, and said, O greatly beloved man, do not fear. Peace be unto you. Be strong and stronger. And when he had spoken to me, I was strengthened, and said, Let my Lord speak, for you have strengthened me. Then he said, Do you know why I have come to you? And now I will return to fight with the prince of Persia. And when I leave, behold, the prince of Yahwan will come. But I will show you that which is noted in the scripture of truth. And there is no one who holds these things with me, but Michal, your prince. Chapter 11. Also in the first year of Darius the Mede, I, even I, stood to confirm and to strengthen him. And now I will show you the truth. Behold, there will stand up 3 kings in Persia, but the 4th will be far richer than all of them, and by the strength of his riches he will stir up everyone against the realm of Yahuwan, and a mighty king will stand up, who will rule with great dominion, and do according to his will. But when he stands up, his kingdom will be broken and divided toward the 4 winds of the heavens, and not for his benefit, nor according to his dominion which he ruled. For his kingdom will be plucked up even for others beside those. However, the king of the south will be strong, also one of his princes, and he will be strong above him, and have dominion. His dominion will be a great dominion. And during the end of years, they will join themselves together. For the daughter of the king of the south will come to the king of the north to make an agreement, but she will not retain the power of the arm. Neither will he stand, nor his arm, but she will be given up, and those who brought her, and he who begot her, and he who strengthened her during these times. But out of the branch of her roots, one will stand up in his estate, who will come with an army, and will enter into the fortress of the king of the north, and will deal against them, and will prevail. Also he will carry captives into Mitzrayim, their deities with their princes, and with their precious silver and gold vessels. And he will continue more years than the king of the north. Furthermore, the king of the south will come into his kingdom and return into his own Adama. But his sons will be stirred up, and will assemble a multitude of great forces, and one will certainly come and overflow and pass through. Then he will return and be stirred up, even to his fortress. And the king of the south will be moved with rage, and will come forth and fight with him, even with the king of the north. And he will set out a great multitude, but the multitude will be given into his hand. And when he has taken away the multitude, his heart will be lifted up, and he will cast down many 10,000s, but he will not be strengthened by it. For the king of the north will return, and will set out a great multitude, greater than the former, and will certainly come after many years with a great army and with much riches. And during those days many will stand up against the king of the south. Also the robbers of your people will exalt themselves to establish the vision, but they will fall. Therefore the king of the north will come and cast up a mount, and take most of the fenced cities. And the arm of the south will not stand, nor his chosen people, nor will there be any strength to withstand. But he who comes against him will do according to his own will, and no one will stand before him. Therefore he will stand in a glorious land that will be consumed by his hand. Also he will set his face to enter into the strength of his own kingdom, and upright ones with him. He will do this, and he will give himself the daughter of women, corrupting her. But she will not stand on his side, nor before him. After this, he will turn his face to the isles, and will take many. However, a prince for his own behalf will cause the reproach offered by him to cease. Without his own reproach, he will cause it to turn upon himself. Then he will turn his face toward the fort of his own land. But he will stumble and fall, and not be found. Then he will stand up a tax raiser in his estate, in the glory of the kingdom. But within a few days he will be destroyed, not by anger nor in battle. And in his estate a vile person will stand up, to whom they will not give the honor of the kingdom. But he will come in peacefully, and obtain the kingdom with flatteries. And with the arms of a flood they will be overthrown and broken before him. Also the prince of the covenant, after the league is made with him, he will work deceitfully, for he will come up, and he will become strong with a small people. He will enter peacefully, even upon the fattest places of the province. And he will do what his fathers have not done, nor his fathers' fathers. He will scatter the prey, and plunder, and riches among them, and he will devise his plans against the strongholds, only for a time. And he will stir up his power and his courage against the king of the south with a great army. And the king of the south will be stirred up to battle with a very great and mighty army. But he will not stand, for they will forecast devices against him. Yes, those who feed of the portion of his grain will destroy him. Also his army will overflow, and many will fall down slain. And the heart of both of these kings will be to do mischief. and they will speak lies at one table. But it will not prosper, for the end will still be at the appointed time. Then he will return to his land with great riches, and his heart will be against the holy covenant, and he will do exploits and return to his own land. At the appointed time, he will return and come into the south. But it will not be like the previous or latter, for the ships of Kittim will come against him. Therefore, he will be grieved and return and have indignation against the holy covenant. Thus he will do. Also, he will return and regard those who forsake the holy covenant. The arms will stand on his part, and they will pollute the sanctuary of strength, and will take away the daily sacrifice, and they will place the abomination that makes desolate. And those who do wickedly against the covenant, he will corrupt with flatteries. However, the people who know their Elohim will be strong and labor, and those who understand among the people will instruct many. Yet they will fall by the sword, and by flame, by captivity, and by plunder for many days. Now when they fall, they will be helped with a little help, but many will cleave to those with flatteries. And some of the wise will fall, so that they may be refined, purified, and made spotless until the time of the end, for it will still be at an appointed time. And the king will do according to his will, and he will exalt himself and magnify himself above every deity, and will speak marvelous things against the Al of the Alim, and will prosper until the indignation is accomplished. For what is determined will be done. He will not regard the deity of his fathers, nor the desire of women, nor regard any deity, for he will magnify himself above all. But in his estate he will honor the deity of forces, and a deity who his fathers did not know. He will honor with gold and silver, and with precious stones and pleasant things. He will do this in the mightiest strongholds with a foreign deity, and will greatly honor those who acknowledge him. And he will cause them to rule over many, and will divide the Adamah for gain. And at the time of the end, the king of the south will push at him. So the king of the north will come against him like a whirlwind, with chariots and with horsemen and with many ships. And he will enter into the countries, and will overflow and pass over. Also he will enter into the glorious land, and many countries will be overthrown. But these will escape out of the hand, even Adum, and Moab, and the chief of the children of Ammon. Also he will stretch out his hand upon the countries, and the land of Mizraim will not escape, but he will have power over the treasures of gold and silver, and over the precious things of Mizraim. Also the Lubim and the Cushim will be at his steps. But news out of the east and out of the north will trouble him. Therefore he will go forth with great fury to destroy and annihilate many. And he will plant the tabernacle of his palace between the seas in the glorious holy mountain. However, he will come to his end, and no one will help him. Chapter 12. At that time Michal will stand up, the great prince who stands for the children of your people, and there will be a time of trouble. Such has never been since there was a nation, even until that same time. And at that time your people will be delivered, everyone who is found written in the supper. And many of those who sleep in the dust of the Adamah will awaken, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. And those who are wise will be enlightened like the brightness of the firmament, and those who turn many to righteousness like the stars forever and ever. But you, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the supper, even until the time of the end. Many will run to and fro, and knowledge will increase. Then I, Daniel, looked, and behold, 2 others stood there, one on this side of the bank of the river, and another on that side of the bank of the river. And one said to the man clothed in linen, who was upon the waters of the river, "How long will it be until the end of these wonders?" And I heard the man clothed in linen, who was upon the waters of the river, when he held up his right hand and his left hand to the heavens, and swore by him who lives forever that it will be for a time, times, and a half. And when the power of the holy people is completely shattered, all these things will be finished. Furthermore, I heard but did not understand. Then I said, "O my Lord, what will be the end of these things?" And he said, "Go your way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed until the time of the end. Many will be purified and made white and tried, but the wicked will do wickedly, and none of the wicked will understand, but the wise will understand. And from the time that the daily sacrifice is taken away, and the abomination that makes desolate is established, there will be 1290 days. Blessed is he who waits and comes to the 135th day. But go your way until the end, for you will rest and stand in your lot during the end of the days. The end. Thank you for listening to my interpretation of Daniel. I hope that you find my Bible series, Choreb Beruach, Sword of the Spirit, enlightening. The word of Yahweh is a treasure trove of mysteries. It's amazing what you'll discover when you read it with your eyes open. My name is Wendy, and you've been called out of darkness